In the Torah portion of Reeh, we begin with the following. See, I am giving to you today a blessing and a curse. Now in Hebrew, there's a grammatical inconsistency here. The word see is in the singular, Reeh, whereas the term to you, lifnechem, is in the plural. I mean, in English there's no you plural, so it's hard to explain, but in Hebrew there is. So it says, the command to see is in the singular, whereas Moses is obviously speaking to a group of people. So how do we resolve that contradiction? So Rabbi Joseph Caro, the 15th century author of the Code of Jewish Law, wrote in his mystical diary, Magid Mesharim, which was dictated to him by an angel, insights from a very spiritual source, explained as follows. He said the difference between ordinary people and special souls is that very lofty mystical people can actually see spiritual things. We just talk about them. You and I might just talk about them, we might just read about them. But the really in-tuned people on this planet, they can see spirituality. And that's who Moses was addressing. He says, see, I'm giving you a blessing and a curse. See it, look, it's right there. Here's the blessing, here's the curse. For those of you who can see, which is obviously not very many. So the word see is in the singular, addressing a very small crowd, whereas before you is in the plural to indicate that, for the rest of us, we're not going to see it. Only those few individuals are. Chapter 12, verse 21. You may eat from your cattle and sheep which God has given you, provided that you first slaughter them as I have commanded you. This, of course, refers to the commandment of shechita, of ritual slaughter. Before we eat any form of meat or fowl, there's a commandment to ritually slaughter it, so it should be kosher meat. Now, what's the point of this? Well, there are many, many explanations. I'm not going to get into the main reason for the mitzvah. I just want, which you're probably aware of many of them. I'd like to share with you a rather bizarre insight I found in the works of Rabbi Isaac Luria, which is somewhat interesting, but I want to share with you anyway. This is what he says. He says that sometimes a soul is reincarnated into an animal. And this is a form of tikkun, of spiritual healing. If we don't do what's necessary in our lives, then we can be reincarnated into animal. In fact, Rabbi Menachem Rekanati, the Italian Kabbalist, lists all sorts of different sins and which particular animal, in his commentary on the Torah, lists all sorts of different sins and on what animals a person would be reincarnated into if he did those sins. But Rabbi Isaac Luria says that shechita, ritual slaughter, would free a trapped soul from its incarnation in the animal. So in addition to the many, many reasons why we eat kosher, there's actually a very spiritual effect of the ritual slaughter, that it can free trapped souls. Okay. We should really have some sort of minimum age to watch this. I mean, this is scary stuff. Chapter 14, verse 22, the mitzvah of tzedakah, of charity. Now, when you fulfill the mitzvah of charity, have the following in mind. It's a spiritual meditation, but it's a very powerful one. You have to picture the word tzedakah, which I have here on my iPad to make things easier for you. Here we have the word tzedakah, which is spelled Tzadik Dalet Kuf Hey. Okay? Now let's zoom in and focus on the Kuf Hey, because that's the main important thing here. Now, a Kuf and a Hey are essentially the same letters, node-wise. They have the same nodes. It's just that a Kuf is really a Hey with the side pulled down below the baseline. The Kuf represents Cain, the serpent, primordial evil. Because that overextended line represents the ego getting out of hand. What we have to do with that evil, with that ego, is to shorten it and render the kuf into a hay. And Rabbi Isaac Luria recommends that when we give charity, we should meditate upon this point. We should imagine the kuf and imagine it returning to the shape of a hay, and this will provide us with a powerful spiritual meditation to quash our egos. Now, at the end of the Torah portion of Reeh, in chapter 16, we have a lengthy section on the festivals of the year, which, of course, each festival commemorates a different event. The Passover celebrates how we left Egypt so quickly and our dough didn't rise. The festival of Shavuot celebrates the giving of the Torah. The festival of Rosh Hashanah, the New Year, celebrates the creation of man, the renewal of the year. Every festival has some sort of historical significance, which we always have in mind when we celebrate the festival. But have you ever wondered, why do we have to do the same thing every single year? What is the point of again and again remembering the same historical events? Very nice, but maybe we should have a different list of, there's plenty of history. There are many, many events in history that we don't celebrate every year. Why are these particular events enshrined in our calendar with mitzvot, with commandments connected with them, whether other historic events are just simply not mentioned? So, various Kabbalistic thinkers such as the Chidah and the Ramaz have explained the significance as follows. That when we celebrate a festival, we're not just thinking about the past, although that's part of it. What's actually happening is, on the very first time that festival occurred, new gates of spirituality were opened up to empower us. For example, Passover is the festival of faith, of emunah. They believed that even if they would just the Jews ran away from the most civilized country in the world into a desert with no provisions, with old men, with children, they had faith. So at that moment in history, gates opened above of faith. And every single year when that date comes around on the Jewish calendar, those gates open again and flood us with the energies required to increase our faith. And similarly, the festival, for example, of Sukkot, which is the festival of joy, this is not just looking at the past. There are fresh energies unleashed on that day, enabling us and empowering us for the whole year, actually, with the ability to be joyous. And so too with all the other festivals. So next time a festival comes along, bear in mind that this is not just something of the past. It's actually a renewal of a spiritual covenant that we have with God. And God is actually imparting us with the energy and with the power to enhance our lives in a way that we have never yet done before, because we've never had so much empowerment. Spiritual message for the week. Very good name, this parsha. Re'eh, see. How much is vision a part of your Judaism, a part of your religion? Does it come, normally religion's about reading books, it's about performing rituals. How much of do you experience any vision whatsoever in your spiritual life? I think our vision gets clouded by habit. You see, we get so used to doing what we do, we just can't see beyond the box. We just become habitually confined to our lives as they've been up till now, and we just can't break out of it. So I think something to focus on this week is vision. Try and plan out your vision. What are you going to do the next 5 years of your life? Where are you going to be religiously in 10 years? Where are you going to be spiritually in the next few weeks of your life? Try and envision something beyond your habit. And I think that this Torah portion will empower you to do that. Thank you very much for joining us. And next week, this time, this place, Torah in 10. Please join us.